Hey, this is Pam Perry, Get Out There, Get Known podcast, where all things for speakers and authors to get out there and get known. Today, we have a guest, Misty Mejia. I'll tell you a little bit about her right after this.
Welcome to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast. Join Pam Perry, veteran PR strategist, Emmy award-winning producer and publisher of Speakers Magazine, who will show you how to crack the code in getting out there to get known. Each week, she either interviews her media friends, PR colleagues, or she just goes solo, offering you strategies on publicity, publishing, and platform building. So listen up to hear how to get booked on media places and on superstar stages. Now, here's your host, Pam Perry.
Hey there. So, you want to get booked on superstar stages. So, one of the main things that you're going to probably need a little bit of shining up and polishing is about really how to be a great public speaker, how to be a good speaker. So our guest today will talk about that, Misty Mejia. She'll talk about that. Recently, she was honored as one's to watch on the most influential people in accounting. She'll tell you all about that. She's driven to help businesses succeed at what they were born to do with over 25 years in global public speaking, marketing strategy, program development, and education design. She loves a good problem to solve. She's known for creating non-traditional ways to approach business and working to uncover the creative solution to exponentially exceed the goals of an organization. She thrives at uncovering untapped revenue streams and developing lasting relationships with clients, followers, and more. But I want to read you a little bit about something, because it's one thing when we write our own bios and people read it, and those are really nice. But when someone else talks about you in a good way, you really want to listen. So this was just something recently someone had said to Misty. It says, "Thank you, Misty, for helping me find my voice. 6 weeks ago, our team embarked on your public speaking class. I had no idea what a powerful experiences would be for me individually and for our team collectively. You've helped me realize that being a great public speaker is not about writing a good script, or having a well-designed deck, although we learned a lot of that too. It's about embracing the opportunity to help others find their voices through having the courage to share our own stories." And then she goes on, the person says, "You were the highlight of the summer." And she says so much she wanted to just say thank you. And I just thought that was so, so cool. Okay, where did Misty go? Okay, Misty, did we, hey there, hey there. So we're going to make sure that Misty comes back. I hope I didn't, what's the word? Make her gush so much where she left. But Misty, if you can come back, one of Misty was just right here and we were talking. So technology has this thing. The reason why I do this podcast while Misty logs back in is because I interview, like the promo said, my media friends, and then also those who help speakers, primarily people who want to speak better, but primarily for those who want to be in the profession for speaking. The profession of speaking is a business. A lot of people say, well, when I retire, I'm going to go and speak. Well, it really takes more than just like, I'm going to just retire and then eventually people are going to call me and speak and I'm going to get paid $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000. It really takes a lot of learning about building your brand, building your platform, understanding your messaging. Not even, we're talking at this point about the delivery of the speech. That's what Misty is going to talk about delivering the speech. The other part is really making sure that you are delivering the speech in a qualified way. Also making sure that you're building the brand. That includes getting PR. And so when I interview a lot of my media friends, the main thing that they're listening to, or I want you to listen for, is like what they're looking for, what their audiences are looking for. Their audiences are looking for, their readers are looking for interesting story. Their viewers are looking for something that's going to either educate or entertain or inspire them. They're not looking to really promote your book. They're not looking to make you famous. And so, on my podcast, the last few, I've had some media people. I had Professor Jackie Jones on. I've had Ken Lemon, who's a news anchor. I've had various media people on. And if you go back and you listen to their stories of how they started their careers and what they're looking for, you realize they're saying a lot of the same thing. And one of the tricks is that all of the people that I interview and immediate people, I'm bringing them to life for you, is to really make sure that you understand where they're coming from and you're not afraid to approach them or to pitch them. Because so many times pitching, I'm a publicist by trade. So before, you'd have to hire publicists to pitch you. Well, obviously the gatekeepers are gone. You can pitch the media directly. So when you pitch the media directly, you have to know what to say, and it's easier to know what to say to someone that you know a little bit. So if you know them a little bit, it's easier to approach them. You know what kind of things they're looking for, what you have in common, what kind of things that you can share with them that you know they would be interested in because you know them. So once you know them, you can actually share with them what is your story, what is your pitch, what is your hook. So I have almost 100 episodes. Probably 75% of those are media people, people from MSNBC to the Boston Globe, a lot of them African American, but primarily a lot of them are looking for stories. They're looking for people to feature. They're looking for human interest stories. So if you can figure out a way to go through my podcast, go through Pam Perry podcast, go through there and actually pull out some of the interviews there, you can then contact them. And then if it's a fit, you pitch them because I've already interviewed them for you. So you know who they are and what kind of stories they're looking for. So since you know what kind of stories you're looking for, you pitch them. And so if you go to pamperrypodcast.com, you can go directly there. And you will then see all the media people there with the show notes as well. And or just, make sure that you subscribe on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to them, or you can Google Plus, in Amazon. Actually, Amazon Video is there, so you can actually watch me as well as hear it. But the main thing is to go back through, if you really want to get media exposure, to go through those particular podcasts and see what they're looking for. Reach out to them, tell them that you heard them on Get Out There, Get Known with Dr. Pam Perry. Immediately they're going to say, oh, this is a person that's doing their homework, versus typically this is what people do when they pitch. They'll write a pitch letter. They'll get a list of media, radio, TV, print, podcasts. They'll slap it together, put them on BCC, and send it out. So they figure the more I send out at one time, if I send out 100 different pitches, I may get 10. But I always tell people that in my coaching programs, listen, pick 10 media outlets, work those, research those media outlets, research the people. You don't have to interview them. Pam Perry's already interviewed for them. See what they're looking for. Send them a hook, about what you think that might interest them. Then send them a pitch, send them a segment idea, whatever it is. And then you have a match. So out of the 10, you may get 9 versus sending 1,000 and get 0. And then also get blackballed. So I'm not sure what happened to Misty here. I am looking for her. Let's see what happened, because she was just here. So, internet has these things where it could happen. But I'm going to see if I can get back Misty here. But I'm going to look over here in the comments and see if there's any questions or anything. But I do want to make sure that Misty is not on my email saying, hey, where are you? And what happened? Okay. So Misty the power just went out. Okay. Now waiting for the internet to come back up. Okay. So she's waiting for the internet to come. She was just right there. So I do want to say, if you're just starting out and you're in the speaking business, one of the first things you want to probably do is make sure that your presentation is solid, right? That what we just said, that it has the messaging correctly, that your keynote that you're going to deliver, whatever, that part. I don't teach that. I pretty much, once a person says that I want to be a speaker, I'm going to step into this realm, I help promote them. I help them with their platform. I help them with their branding. I help them with their digital marketing. I help them with their publicity. I will match them to different organizations where are looking for speakers. I will give them ways where they can actually market themselves better as a speaker. They position themselves. All that is in different programs in my Ready Set Go Speak program. The Ready Set Go Speak program goes through the digital marketing program first, then it takes them through Q&A, really for them to assess themselves, like where they are, so they can turn their no's into yeses. Once a month, I sit with them and say, okay, where are you? There are just a lot of moving parts about our brand that we need to fix and to polish up. Starting with the website, starting with people think it's pictures. You think like, oh, I've got a one sheet and I got a pictures and I have a video. It's so much more in between that you really, really need. A lot of it is getting the visibility and the credibility. And that's what the media does. The media gives you credibility. So get out there, get known, not just get out there, get known on social media, which is fine. LinkedIn is good. YouTube is good. Facebook is good. But getting out there, getting known and vetted by journalists, real producers, real editors, where they're telling a story. So many times people want to tell a story about the trauma they've gone through. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you're adding value to someone's life as a speaker, whether you're doing it training or you have programs where you're coaching, where you're adding value to people. So many times I find that people love to speak and they love to tell their stories, and that's fine, but only if the story is connected to something that the person can take away and learn and use. Okay, so you can tell me a traumatic story of something that happened to you, and I'll walk away and say, oh, that was just a really sad story. But what is the lesson? So that's where Misty, when her power comes back on, will help with as well. The other thing that once you actually have all of your story together and you are putting together like your decks, or you're now really marketing yourself to get paid, really running the business like a business. And so many speakers, they say, well, I'm just going to speak on the side or whatever. You still need to set up a company. You still need to have invoices. You need to have systems. You might even need to have an assistant. A lot of times in my Ready, Set, Go Speak program, there's a list of vendors that I really provide for people, for someone that can help them with their social media, or someone that can help them with their bookkeeping, or someone that can help them with their videos, someone that can help them really put together their whole email marketing campaigns. That's all part of a business. You can't do it all. And if you think that, oh, okay, I'm just going to, you know, get paid, thousands of dollars to speak. I speak 4 times a month. I'll make, $60,000, $70,000, a quarter or whatever it is, because I can speak and people are going to hire me. They won't really hire you on a continual basis as a career unless you have a business system in place. One of the first things I always tell people is to have a CRM, a customer relationship management system, something like Active Campaign. If you go to pamperrypr.com and go to, I think it's products, you'll see all the list of the things that I use in our company. 10X Pro is one. There's Active Campaign. There's FreshBooks. Obviously, sometimes when people are just starting out with speaking, they don't even have a PayPal account. It's like, how are people going to pay you? And don't tell me Cash App, because that is not like, that is that is not a business. That's having a hustle. Okay. So Cash App is fine for my daughter who's like 20-something years old. But when you're an adult and you want to have a business, don't tell people you can Cash App them. You need to have an invoicing system, whether you use QuickBooks or FreshBooks or any of that kind of things. Hey, I might as well I should probably have them as a sponsor on this podcast. Brought to you by FreshBooks. I'm gonna work on that. That's a good idea. I will probably try to integrate some of the tools that I use in my company for the podcast, because I'm always recommending them too as well. I don't know if she's going to come back or not. I can go on and on because I love really talking about speaking. I will recommend a book. And speakers need to do the research. I just was interviewing Kelly Charles, and she was saying that before she does anything, she does a lot of research. This particular book here is called Speak Up. The Ultimate Guide to Dominate the Speaking Industry. It's a really good book. Um, it's an anthology of book from Black Speakers Network. I am in here as well. I talk about if you want to get out there and get known, you need to be found in Google. So I'm pretty much always consistent with my message about getting out there and getting known. And so many times digital marketing is a big part of it, using SEO, search engine optimization. Now, all that doesn't have to do with really making an impact in your particular presentation, but it has to do with being found. They can't hire you if you're not going to get found. And so this particular book goes over each aspect of speaking that we all need. And it's about 40. So I love this book. I mean, my chapter was just one chapter in it, but I love this book. It is really, really good. It's available on Amazon as well. But one of the things it goes over, it's about your mission. Why are you speaking? And really, like I said, you don't want to bleed all over people, telling them about all the traumatic things that happen in your life. You want to be a type of speaker that inspires and motivates and educates. Then your message basically is like, what is my message? If you're going to do a TED talk or a TEDx talk, what is the messaging? And they take you through a series of things of how to get your message ready and prepared, because it's only about 12-15 minutes when doing the TEDx talk. The other thing is the marketing, which I really, really love. That's part of who I am. My name is Pam. And I always tell people, I said the P is for promoting, the A is for helping people amplify, and the M is for marketing. So PAM, promotion, amplification, and marketing. Those are the things. So the marketing part was like, oh, we got that. There's a chapter in here from Brian, myself, Keisha, Reynolds, Candace Nicole is in there, Robert Youngblood, just different people in the marketing section. But it really, Altavis is in here as well. And then there's part about monetizing. You have to, if you're going to be a speaker, know how to monetize. Now, at the beginning, maybe you are speaking for free just to get the practice or whatever, or maybe you're selling in the back of the room. But for the most part, you have to know how to cash in on your speaking business, how to cash in on courses, how to do other type of things. There's one chapter in here in this book that Dr. Cheryl Wood wrote, and she says, I speak for fee, not free. I speak for fee. And then the last part where I feel that most speakers really have a downfall, because they're like creatives. So the business management self of them, they know themselves as talent, but they don't know themselves like as a business person. So the management part, really understanding taxes, really understanding the whole process of systems and things like that. Those are really, really key things for people to understand. And the last part, the afterword, is from Les Brown, and the forward is from Dr. George Frazier. Dr. George Frazier and Les are, I guess, the OGs in the speaking business. And they're the OGs in the speaking business, which really inspire a lot of us. I remember seeing George Frazier the first time, hearing him speak many years ago at a success conference. And one of the first things that he always walks up to a podium and says, especially for people who aren't familiar with him, he'll say, "Yes, I am Black," and because he's very, 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 very light, and his hair looks like it's Caucasian, but he is very, very Afrocentric, a Black person. So he would say that. So it kind of like breaks the ice. But when I tell you that he's a type of presenter from the beginning to the end, has you on the edge of your seat, riveting words, making you think and making you shift and transform. It's a transformational speaker. He has his Power Networking Conference he does every single year. The last 2 years he's had virtually. This year he's having it the Power Networking Conference.com. He's having it in Houston. Great conference, networking on steroids. A lot of my clients I meet there. I meet new clients there as well. So I would suggest going to conferences is really, really key. And then the afterword was by Les Brown. Les Brown was on the cover of Speakers Magazine, as well as George was on the first cover. But when I tell you, he has his whole speaking academy, and he led by Lauren Hudson, a friend of mine. It is amazing to see how people, because I'm not a platform speaker per se. I have spoken on platforms, but I usually speak about what I know, which is marketing, PR, and branding. But when I see the people that Les has trained, like he'll take over a few days and he'll give them his tips. And then by the end of the third day, there's such a transformation. They're like amazing. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that you can be that people can make that big of a transformation, which is what I really want Misty to come up and talk about as well. Uh, uh, then the other thing that I think is really, really important is making sure that they are doing more than speaking, but they are actually putting together courses, maybe creating other types of content, doing coaching. You can only speak and do so many keynotes, right? A week or a month or whatever. But what after you do your keynote, what are you going to offer? And so that part right there is the business part of really the speaking business. You're using your words, your presentations, or your knowledge, your expertise to change and transform, but then on the platform. But what do you do after that? Whether it is virtually or you're doing a series of workshops or coaching or training, that part of it needs to be put together. And there's a lot of speakers you probably have never heard of. They're not quote unquote famous, but they're making a ton of money because they are going into corporations and they're actually solving problems for them by training, by really. It's basically, you think about teachers in higher ed or even just teachers, period. They're teaching, and that's the same thing that a speaker would do, but they're doing it in a way where it's like it kicks off maybe with their platform and their keynote, and then it goes to a whole another area. I should tell Misty that she could probably come in on her phone if she can, because that will be a good thing to use her phone, because I'm sure her a good way. So this right here has never happened. I've been doing the podcast. I'm on like podcast number 100 almost. I've never had a guest that was here and then all of a sudden their power went out. I could usually wing it. It's like, okay, we're going to do it. But this is a good lesson for anyone who's doing an interview. If you do an interview and you have it set up maybe in your studio or whatever, and it goes out, make sure that you use your phone. Just use your phone and set it up the same way. I have a tripod in front of me in case that does even happen for me, that I can then go on and just continue on as well. And one of the things too is that we have so much technology now where there's so many these iPhones. I'm telling you, um, they can really do a whole lot of good visuals and things like that, pictures and all that. People can make movies and things like that. So you want to be able to not be afraid of technology. And I'm saying that especially to my baby boomers. It's like, hey, I can't do all that. It's like I have like sound effects here. It took me a while to get these sound effects, right? And I was like, how do I do that? So different things that we can do with technology that we weren't able to do before. And one of the things I want people to make sure is that we've got the tech tools that Missy is mentioning there. Ring lights. When the pandemic happened, people were like, oh, I need to get a ring light. And ring lights were like hard to find, right? Because people were buying them. But don't be afraid to use the different technologies. I have a ring lights in front of me. I have what I'm using right here is my Logitech in front of me. I'm using my Mac computer that's plugged in. I have my Rodecaster over here for the sound effects. A lot of times when I'm doing presentations, I guess you would say, Zooms and that sort of thing. This was StreamYard, but if I use Zoom, I may use a background because that right there my black background is really crisp so that I can use a background for me. And two, even in my StreamYard right here, I have like an overlay that I had someone designed for me as well. Get Out There, Get Known podcast has the host name up at the top. I have a banner at the bottom. So a lot of these things are very simple. Click of a button. You can do that. It's not a problem. Listen, they want to make it so easy so that we can all use it. If they make it complicated, then they wouldn't make any money, right? So those are some of the main things as well. So I'm gonna send her the link so that we can actually get on. Well, what I'm going to do, come right back here and take a commercial break and go and get Misty.
And Pam Perry, veteran PR strategist, Emmy Award-winning producer and publisher of Speakers Magazine.
I know that you probably have a message that you want to reach the masses, and you've been doing it for a long time. It's just like, just need that big break. Enter in the Brand Accelerator program, where we bring to you 10 key experts that will give you access to their brain and to their resources so that you can accelerate.
I know that in order to really grow my influence and my impact, I've got to get on media. I've got to be seen. So I've had other publicists that have worked with me in the past. But Pam doesn't just focus on where you are right now. She focuses on where you're going and what publicity, what media is in alignment with that.
All right. So my Brand Accelerator program is, I did the last one for this year. We may be starting it again next year as well. But it really is. In order to get PR, you need to have a brand. A brand, meaning that so that people understand, what are you known for? What is it that people are going to come to expect from you? A brand used to be like, oh, it's a brand like a box of cornflakes, right? Is it Kellogg's or is it Post? That's a brand. But no, people are brands. So the Brand Accelerator helps you develop the brand so that you can get PR, so you can get booked. Well, I'm going to see if Misty is going to come. If not, hopefully you got some value out of what I shared with you about how to get booked as a speaker. She will we'll have her come back and really give us about how she helps people deliver better presentations. Her power went out. We have no control over that right now. But the main thing is that you get value out of this. We'd like you to subscribe. Go to all the other podcasts. Like I was saying, I think one of the secret sauces that you could probably get a lot of PR if you want to do it yourself. If you don't, if you want to learn how to do it yourself, go to my Ready, Set, Go Speak program. But if you want to know, like, well, how do I know where the media is? I have interviewed a lot of them. So make sure that you go to my podcast and do that as well. So with that, I am going to end it out right here because our guest was here, but now she's not. But that's okay. But we will have her back. So with that, I'm Pam Perry. Make sure that you tune in and subscribe and share our podcast. All righty. God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast, brought to you by PamPerryPR.com, where you'll get insider tips on how to build your platform, pitch the media, and promote yourself with confidence. Head over to PamPerryPR.com and get the exclusive video training on the 7 must-have marketing materials you need before you pitch in order to be considered in media places or superstar stages. PamPerryPR.com.